Did you know? As Yamato was readied for television in 1974, there were a number of aspects in the foundation that touched on World War II. The eponymous space battleship Yamato was based on the Imperial Japanese battleship Yamato, the largest battleship ever set to sail. Before finally sinking in the South China Sea on April 7, 1945, the original Yamato survived 11 torpedo hits and 6 bomb strikes. This is reflected in the spacefaring descendants' ability to take massive beatings and still plow relentlessly forward in its voyage to Iskandar. The antagonists, the Gamilas, or Gamelons in the English dubbed version, were based on the notorious leadership of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazis. There is Vice Leader Hiss of the Gamelon Empire and Deputy Führer Rudolf Hess of Nazi Germany, General Domel of the Gamelon Empire and German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, and General Guru of the Gamelon Empire and Commander-in-Chief of the Luftwaffe Hermann Göring. Her leader himself was christened Desila Zotto. The title Zotto can be translated as leader in English, while in German it is Führer. In the Japanese version of Episode 2, there was a flashback to the sinking of the Imperial Japanese battleship Yamato, and producer-creator Yoshinobu Nishizaki wanted the World War II-era naval march to score the scene. Series director Leiji Matsumoto and other members of the staff protested, feeling such music might reinforce the view that the series was pro-Imperial Japan. At the 11th hour, Nishizaki recanted, but was far too late for the Tokyo area broadcast. The march wasn't heard again until the scene appeared in the compilation movie released in 1977. In the North American release of the series, the scene was removed entirely, and the ship was rechristened the Argo, after the mythical Greek vessel which sailed to far-off lands in search of the Golden Fleece. Many original concepts were changed, repurposed, and recycled throughout the history of the Yamato franchise. Nishizaki's original conception of the show differed dramatically from the final product due to the contributions of numerous members of the staff. The early concept involved not a resurrected World War II battleship, but a ship encased in an asteroid, referred to as the Icarus, specifically asteroid 1566 Icarus, which would protect the international teenage crew from severe attack and other intergalactic dangers. The name was ultimately changed when mecha designer Kazutaka Miyatake of Studio Nue suggested a change, and the vessel became a literal spacefaring battleship. After Matsumoto was brought onto the project, the overall shape of the space battleship began to develop to its more familiar design. Matsumoto wasn't without his unrealized visions either. Before the series was reduced from 39 to 26 episodes, Matsumoto and the writers had worked in his pre-existing character, Captain Harlock, a renegade who attacked Gamelon ships and was sympathetic to the plight of the Yamato, because he was secretly the elder brother of the main protagonist. 6 years later, Harlock would finally debut as the main character of Matsumoto's anime and manga series, Space Pirate Captain Harlock. Had Harlock appeared in the original Yamato series, it's a sure bet that the character would have had a completely different destiny in both fiction and popular culture. Several unrealized spin-offs were announced, but never came to fruition, including several concepts starring leader Dessler. These included Dessler's War, which would have continued the franchise after the conclusion of Final Yamato in 1983, featuring the intergalactic despot as the main protagonist. The story of Dessler's War changed from year to year without one plot ever being concrete enough to stick. Talk about development hell. The only constant was that it would pit Dessler against new enemies in his own space battleship, the Queen Starsha. Despite years of promises of coming production and a few concept images, Dessler's War never materialized. During their association, Nishizaki and Matsumoto sometimes found themselves on opposing sides of minor details and major issues of story content. Reportedly, Matsumoto's optimistic and anti-war sentiments even led him to refuse to work on the final scenes of the 1978 feature film Farewell Space Battleship Yamato, due to differences of opinion concerning the characters sacrificing their lives. Even though they had parted ways in the 1980s, Matsumoto and Nishizaki would again clash in the 1990s and the 2000s over ownership of the Yamato concepts and properties. Each wanted to produce a new voyage, and those that they respectively managed to get out of the gate quickly took on water and sunk. While their claims were being fought back and forth in the courts, Matsumoto managed to gain creatorship status of the franchise as Nishizaki served a jail sentence for unrelated contraband charges. To offset legal fees, Nishizaki had sold the existing Yamato films and television series to Tohoku Shinsha Film Corporation, but he retained the rights to produce new animated series or films. Matsumoto fought for complete authorship, but was eventually awarded limited rights to certain concept designs. But with Matsumoto at the helm, a series of 6 games for the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 breathed new life into the original story and offered players exciting and highly interactive expansions of familiar events from the series. Once Nishizaki served his time, he regained authorship and took the concept a step further with a series of wildly popular Pachin slot games based on the established canon. Nishizaki's son Shoji went on to produce the highly successful retelling of the original television series Yamato 2199 with Yutaka Izubuchi, a member of the Yamato generation, at the helm. And so, the Yamato sails onward to fire the passions of old-school fans and capture the imagination of an all-new generation. Well, that's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you also check out DidYouKnowAnime.net, where we post anime-related trivia every single day. I'm August Ragone, the author of Eiji Tsuburaya, Master of Monsters, a visual biography of the man who brought Godzilla and Ultraman to life, and I post on my blog The Good, the Bad, and Godzilla at www.augustragone.blogspot.com, and I am a big Yamato nerd. Also, be sure to check out Tim Eldred's incredible CosmoDNA website all about Starblazers and Yamato at rStarblazers.com.